Brian's going to talk a little bit about what Social Media Club is, but the gist of it is this is not just a Beaumont thing. This is an actual organization, and so what we've done is we've adopted the Social Media Club structure and what it represents, and we're carrying that flag forward for our local community. Some of the popular Texas clubs are obviously Austin and Dallas. Houston also has a club. But we're here today to talk about the general aspects of what the Social Media Club is and will be for us here in Beaumont. And I think ultimately our job is to facilitate a current relevant presence for social media in our community. Just like all you guys right now have an opportunity, either as somebody who knows social media or somebody who wants to learn social media, we have an opportunity to educate and encourage others to use social media for whatever purposes. But from my particular standpoint, it's for business purposes, and Brian tends to use it for the communication and branding purposes.
And for fun.
And for fun, that's right. And so this is one of the few things that works equally well from a casual perspective to a pure professional business purpose. And so what we hope to achieve with all of you guys getting together is start a ripple effect that allow us to bring more and more folks into the Social Media Club of Beaumont, and also to educate a little bit about what the organization does and what we need help with. Brian, do you want to talk for just a minute about the club itself?
Sure. Now, the Social Media Club, like Justin said, is a national organization. Actually, it's an international organization. The main office is in San Francisco. We're a nonprofit organization, and the main focus of the Social Media Club is sharing knowledge with others through social media, whether that be with Twitter, with Facebook, with other social media topics, how to use social media for your business and local events and nonprofits and things like that. So, with this first meeting, it's just an introduction. We're trying to get people to help us out by volunteering, and then we'll also have events for Social Media Club, whether that be like speakers that come in and tell you about how to use social media. Maybe we'll have some fun events like tweet-ups or meetups for networking, all kinds of stuff. So it's wide open.
The Social Media Club itself is our current plan is to have it be a free organization, right? So we're seeking sponsorship. Today, Renee has sponsored us by offering the first round of drinks through Eat Drink Southeast Texas, or SETX.
Probably two
Eat,
rounds.
Drink, SETX.
There's not that many people, so we could probably do two.
2 rounds, okay, all right. Woo! That's the way we like our sponsorships. But in all seriousness, I was a part of the American Advertising Federation here in the local chapter called Southeast Texas Advertising Federation. And it's a professional membership, one that you have to pay for. And some chapters do really well with it, and they have a lot of things that are really interesting and engaging, and people come in from other places and talk. It just so happened that our chapter didn't have a lot of that, but our chapter would send people off to conferences, and that was really interesting. Social Media Club in itself, though, what we hope for is to have folks who want to be a part of an organization, help drive an organization, help bring others into the organization, and do it on a volunteer basis without necessarily having to reach into the back pocket every time we do something. Okay? So what we would like to do as we move forward is have at least one official meeting a month at a facility like this or in a professional setting, depending on what we're going to cover in the meeting. We do have, Brian and I have access to folks through the Social Media Club that allow professional development to take place. So we can have guest speakers, authors of books, other folks who are successful in the medium come in and talk about social media. We can also invite and encourage folks from other markets who are business owners and operators who are successfully using social media and give case studies and testimony as to what they're doing. And then, of course, the fun aspects of just, like Brian, I don't know if you guys know this, but Brian is the founder of, or I guess co-founder or founder? Founder of the local Tweet Up, right? And so Brian started that, I guess, about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, roughly?
Yeah.
Yeah? Putting words in his mouth.
Sure. Sounds good.
And that was really a pure social play, right? Anybody who's on Twitter who wants to get with other folks who use Twitter, that's what Brian facilitated almost 2 years ago, was a community environment here where that could take place. The Social Media Club is going to be more than that, right? Because it does include professional development. And one example of the way this might work in the future is we would come together in an environment like this. If we had a guest speaker, that guest speaker would come in, talk about whatever the agenda or format was, whether it was using it for business or using it for personal gain, and then sharing that with all of us. We would have most likely a social environment where we can all network and talk about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then I think at the end of this, what would normally happen is we would all go back out and encourage amongst our friends and networks to get other people to come back and kind of repeat the cycle until we can get a couple hundred people who want to come hang out with smart people who are doing smart things, who are learning interesting stuff, and encouraging somebody who's not on Facebook to get on Facebook, encouraging somebody who's not on Twitter to get on Twitter, encouraging somebody who's not blogging to start blogging, right? Because that's ultimately the challenge here is we want to get people engaged and sharing. And while it may, for some of us, may not seem normal, it is normal, right? This is happening in major metros everywhere, and Beaumont is overdue to have a club who cares about that kind of growth in business and in personal usage. So that's what we hope to do. Does anybody have any specific questions?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, yeah. Does anybody have any money they want to donate? I'm just kidding. And in fact, speaking to the money side of this, if ever we're going to charge money, what it would look like is it would look like an event pass. You would pay to come to an event. You would not pay to be a part of the club. Okay, so as you guys go out, people say, social media club, what is that about? Hopefully you'll repeat some of those things about what the club does and realize that we're not going to charge anybody to be in the club. So the other part of this is what it will look like online, is it will look like Facebook, Twitter account, blog, where we're all sharing and promoting each other, right? So if any of you guys are doing something, you would tell the Social Media Club of Beaumont. The Social Media Club of Beaumont would evangelize that as best possible, right? Because that's the job, is we want to talk about whatever the people are doing, okay? So it's not just what we can do physically, right? Because it's the social media. We have some handouts that talk about the organization. We are looking for some folks who are interested in being a part of the founders group. Right now we have myself, Brian, Stephanie Molina, who's the marketing director of the Beaumont CVB, and Ashley White, who is the communications person for the Beaumont CVB. They volunteered to also be on the founders group to help us. Sir?
I will too.
You want to? Great. Dan here has just said he's okay. Jessica, Renee, okay. So I think we're getting close to full. Anybody else want to be on the founders? No? Okay. Thank you guys. We'll be in touch with you guys to firm some of those details up. And what the founders will do is the founders will help make sure that we're moving forward with the club agenda, which is going to be obviously education. It's going to be creating future events. Some of the other chapters in Texas actually have a normal meeting, and then they have either a pure social function or a pure business development function. And so in those cases, if we can get enough momentum, we may have more than one reason to be in a month's time. Okay, but the club itself, I want to just go back to this. The club itself isn't intended to be a place where we go and feel like it's work, right? It's really supposed to be an idea exchange and connection of people. So if you're a person that goes to Rotary or the Lions Club or a Better Business Bureau or a chamber mixer, if you're that kind of person, this would still facilitate that exact same function of networking, only it's not about I'll call you tomorrow, it's I'll tweet you tomorrow, or I'll catch up with you on Facebook, or I'll check your blog out. That's kind of this newer version of it, right? And then my hope is that we can also do door prizes where we give away some books. There's been some great authors who have come along and talked about where social media is relevant for business, where blogging and things like that are relevant for business. And if we can get sponsorship to buy the books, that'll be a part of our door prizes. What we give out in these future meetings is, as a token of appreciation for coming. What else, Brian?
Also, if you have any ideas for venues or have any people that might be good guests to be a speaker, I mean, a good guest could also be someone that is in the local community that's used social media, to their advantage, or share some tips with all of us so we can share.
Yeah. So The idea from this point forward is this really was a social meet and greet, kind of network amongst each other. We're not going to teach you how to use Twitter necessarily. We're not going to teach you how to use Facebook today, but that will be in a future opportunity. And there are a lot of us here who, in a one-on-one environment, would be happy to meet with you guys and network and talk about those things. We have, from what I can tell, just by looking at the folks in the room, we have marketers, we have business owners, we also have bloggers and social media users. So an intelligent group of people, for sure. So feel free to network with your friends and move around the tables. I've just had a baby, and so my son is
That's
about...
amazing. It's incredible.
Thank you. I know, I trimmed up really quick. But seriously, he's about 28 hours old, so I will not be here for too long. So if anybody wants to talk to me, grab me kind of quickly, but I'll be heading out before you guys do. And I don't want you to leave just because I'm leaving, okay?
What's your Twitter handle?
I'm on Twitter at MCC Justin. My name is Justin McCullough, so I'm MCC Justin. Is it on here?
Oh, it's not.
You know what? It's not. So if you want to catch up with me, I'm MCC Justin. And honestly, if you Google Justin McCullough, I'm all those on the first handle.
Mine is Brian Says with a Y.
Yep, Brian Says.
Ryan Lee was already taken, so I had to pick something else.
Oh, got it.
Brian Says, BRYANSAYS.
So where do you guys normally get the speakers? Will they network from the people that maybe speak in Houston, or
That's right.
just
On the
traveling
social media
mainly
club,
here?
on the social media club website, they have a list of speakers. Or we could reach out to individual speakers and say, hey, we have a speaking arrangement. Do you want to come down?
Yeah. It's networking. The club gives us access to a lot of these folks. We also go to, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I go to conferences around the country, and so I have networks. Jessica, for example, you're going to Oklahoma, or have you already gone?
I went to Chicago, but I'm going to Miami next week.
Yeah, so it's not about necessarily what any one person can bring to the table, right? Like Asa may have a contact who would be a great contact who's passing through for a reason. And Asa, because he cares, would tell us, he'd say, hey, Justin, man, this guy's coming through. Let's get him to come to the club, right? So it's not just what any one of us can do, it's what we can all do together. But yes, the network gives it, the actual organization gives us access to speakers, plus all of our personal contacts.
Neat.
So exciting, huh?
Yes.
I'm sorry I don't have more like confetti or something to throw down. I feel like there needs to be some, something else. But
That's on the budget. We'll have that in the budget.
yeah, it's not in the budget yet. But really, our focus was to tell people what this was about, get some additional help on the Founders Committee, and then officially begin launching and practicing the social media club.
Is there like any day that it's more convenient for everyone to meet than others? Do we have a
Yeah, what did you guys think about today? Was it hard to meet today in the evening?
Tuesdays are good.
Tuesdays are not generally
Tuesdays
a
are
good day
good?
for me.
Not jam-packed?
Kids in school with sports activities.
Get them to quit
Okay.
school
All
and
right.
sports. Get them to quit school and
Can I just ask real
Wednesdays.
quick, who all here has a Twitter account? Raise your hand if you have a Twitter account.
Does it count if we don't use it?
Sure. Hey,
I created it
go
once
back
2 years
Step
ago,
one.
and I tweeted once, and I
Right.
was like, Facebook.
yeah. Hey, that's fine.
I'm with you on that.
Anybody still using MySpace?
you still have
I checked it
use
last
or-
week.
I mean, I have one,
I did
but
check it.
I check it
Well, I
every
mean,
year
I
and
see
see what's there.
Yeah.
I check it once a
Get
year.
emails every once in a while.
Right.
Look new stuff. And,
Right.
yeah.
How about
Spam on
any,
my wall.
Are you using primarily Twitter, or does it have to have Facebook?
I think it's to each his own.
Facebook account?
Yeah, I have a Facebook account, and I think everybody has a personal opinion, but my personal opinion is I use Facebook for personal presence for professional capabilities. I use Twitter for pretty much professional conversation with personal highlights.